Creating your first application on Platma, a step-by-step guide. Platma allows you to create dynamic applications without the complexities of traditional programming. Let's start creating your first application. Creating an application on Platma. First steps and best practices. On the Platma platform, you can create an application in two ways. Start from scratch by naming your project or use existing code. Choose the path that suits you best, whether starting from scratch or refining existing solutions. You have complete freedom of choice. Now go to the application editor. Here, you will find all the tools necessary for creating your application's user interface. To create the visual foundation of your application, use the elements on the right side of the screen. Start by placing a container in the workspace and adjusting its size to match your design. For example, create a main container to house the primary content area of your application. Adjust the container size to match your design. Add data input elements, like a text box, to collect user information. For example, add a text box to enter usernames. This element is usually called a text input field. To create a simple application, it is essential to lay the foundation of the user interface, which will serve as the basis for all the features and interactions of your application. Integrate your application with a data flow to bring it to life. This dynamic connection allows the processing of user data and the generation of the desired outcomes. For example, you can create a flow that calculates a result based on the entered data and displays it in the output field. To save your work, create a new version of the application. This allows you to keep different project versions as you make changes. Version history allows review and revert to previous versions if necessary. Each time you make changes, you are working on the current version of the application. This ensures that all changes are applied to the latest version. To manage data in the application, use an object called query. To start interacting with data, create a new query and select the Platma Apple object in Platma API. This allows you to create requests for data processing through the internal flow builder. Choose the request type depending on the desired action. A POST request is used to send data for processing, while a GET request retrieves data. For example, a POST request is often used to send data to a specific endpoint for processing. This method is suitable when sending data to the flow builder for further actions or analysis. Once you define the query, proceed to create the application. This application will send data to the flow builder for processing, utilizing the platform's capabilities for your specific needs. Think of it as building a bridge between your data and its ultimate goal. To ensure smooth data transfer, create a unique key. In the object field, assign a specific value to this key. This value will be an important reference point, linking your data to the correct input field. Think of it as an address for your data within the system. The key value pair will act as a passport for the data, allowing it to enter the flow builder for processing. This data will be transmitted when the query is invoked. Once the query is processed, save it and start configuring the flow. This will be the foundation for building your automated system. To establish a connection to the flow, copy the endpoint. Create an offline flow for data processing. This flow will become the main operational part of your application, handling data transformations and interactions. To add external data, use the HTTP node. Make sure the node's name and type match the query you created. This synchronization ensures a smooth data flow between the external source and your application, allowing you to use external information in your workflow effectively. Use the HTTP request node to return the processed data to the user interface. This node will respond to the originating endpoint, ensuring seamless communication between the flow and the interface. Completing this loop creates a dynamic system capable of receiving external data, processing it, and returning the results to the user. To transfer data between different components, use the change node. This versatile tool allows you to modify data values within the flow, ensuring smooth data transmission throughout the application. The next step is to set up the settings to pass the modified values. Indicate what data will be transferred, and use the Debug node to display these values in the handler. Debug information allows you to track the process of obtaining and returning data. In the next step, link the button click to the query invocation. Set up an event to run the query, and select the name of the query that will be invoked. Test some values and ensure the functionality works correctly. Use the preview button to see the response received from the node. Check the response. If there is no data, check the settings. Display the entire object that comes into and out of this node, and check the functionality of your component's flow again. Check which node was specified and ensure the correct value is set. If nothing is returned, the value may be incorrect. Check the next step. Fix the error, deploy the changes, return to the flow, and call the query again. Ensure the response has returned and is displayed correctly. Then, return to the query object and assign a value to a specific field for data verification. The next step is to check the result. Check which node was specified and ensure the correct value is set. If nothing is returned, the value may be incorrect. Check the next step, fix the error, deploy the changes, return to the flow, and call the query again. Ensure the response is returned and is displayed correctly. Then, return to the query object and assign a value to a specific field for data checking. The next step is to verify the result. With Platma, the possibilities are limitless. Start bringing your ideas to life today. Would you like to learn more about application development on the Platma platform?